I'll be installing the water pump in this video, and I'll be putting a fully metal one in. I highly recommend that you do also put a full metal water pump in your car, because the plastic one just doesn't do it. And with this, you eliminate the need to knock on wood. And now we are going to get revenge. I will get revenge. Alright. Alright, now that we got that out, let's continue with the install.
So, I like to throw a small amount of silicone grease on the inside of these hoses just so everything pops in easier. I've got this hose orientated in the direction I believe it will go on, and you're just going to want to gently work this in there. The pump is for pumping purposes. So now I'm just going to be lining this water pump up. I'm going to be double checking to make sure none of my hoses will be rubbing on anything. And yeah, so now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start threading these bolts in. So now that I got all three of these bolts in, the two on the bottom and the one on top, I'm just going to snug those up. I'm actually using a 10mm 12-point box end on these E12 torx sockets. I find it just a little easier to get in there and in close spaces, that's all. So once your water pump bolts are all torqued up, you're going to want to go ahead and tighten the clamp off of your water pump. So from the pipe that comes off of the turbos to your water pump, we're just going to go ahead and we're going to snug this clamp up. And you just want to snug it up. You don't want to crank it down, or else you will squish the rubber completely. So from the passenger side wheel well here, I'm just going to plug my water pump in now. It's kind of tough to get a good view. Yeah, that just plugs in there like that. In my case, my connector clip is broken off, so I'll just be using a dab of gasket maker right there to just hold it on. For this hose right here, this is the one that comes off the water pump. You're going to want to make your hose clamp facing the direction that my finger is, so that you can access it from the passenger side wheel well. So we're just going to go ahead and place our clamp on there. So move all your hoses out of the way and start to jam this sucker in there. And you really do almost have to jam it in there. Like, you know, I don't understand how they could make something like this.
Nope, can't really. Oh. I can kind of see.
Okay, it's on. It is on. So now I don't know if you guys can see, but that hose on the back of the thermostat is fully seated. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to bolt the thermostat in now with the two 10mm, plug this connector in, and then I'm going to tighten the far back hose clamp. So to put these hoses on now, I'm just going to pull these clips out, and these hoses are keyed, so they only go on one way, just like that. And once it's on all the way, I'm going to push the clip in and pull it back to make sure it is locked into place and it does not come off. And I'm going to do the same with this top one. I'm going to pop it on just like that and push the clip in. And then I know that one's in there. So I'm just going to go ahead and throw this heat shield on now over the power steering or the steering rack. One 10mm there, and there's one up here. So now we're going to install this little bracket that holds your power steering cooler line. The sway bar is loose. We're going to put it under the sway bar, and there's a 10mm that holds it on top of the subframe. And this is probably one of the hardest parts of this job, is threading this bolt. And I mean, finding it is not that bad, but you know, finding the hole, threading it in, and then using a wrench is just, it's like almost impossible. Like, you know, they gave you like just enough room and maybe a little more. So next bracket, same idea, goes right under the water pump. This bolt is also in the subframe. I've got the sway bar bolted up. There's 4 13mm, 2 on either side. I got the power steering bracket nuts on. off of the mounts, and then I also have the coolant pipe bolted up with two 10 mils, one here and here. So we're just going to go ahead and we're going to secure these.
You're going to want to install your tray that is used to catch all the oil that your N54 will leak. So go ahead and fasten all your skid plate bolts. So now to install your fan shroud, just be really patient wiggling this in because it's hard. It's a tight squeeze. It really is. You know, I guess it's not that bad. That's actually quite easy. Sometimes I find getting it lined up can be a little tricky. Oh, I know where we're stuck. On the bottom, it likes to get stuck on the tabs for the intercooler. Yeah, so if you just pry it out a bit.
You want me to push it down?
It should just fall. Yeah. So, also you're going to want this tab to line up. There we go. I think that's in. Kind of, sort of. Maybe.
Enough to call it good.
We'll have to check from the bottom. From the bottom there is two alignment tabs. Yeah, make sure your intercooler, or make sure your fan shroud is in these tabs. There and there. So on the top corner of your fan, there's going to be a bolt. It's supposed to be a T20. Mine's a 10 mil. Just go ahead and snug that guy up. So now we're going to bolt our tranny cooler up, which is just held in by one Torx bolt. Let's go ahead and slap that guy in there, T20. Install this coolant pipe. Just kind of pops in there. We're going to take our fan wiring, which is clipped in from these clips that come along the top. Go ahead and plug your fan in, and that is it. Now for the last portion, we're going to bolt up our intake tract, T20s. So now you're just going to fill your cooling system, that everything's all tightened up, and then we're going to show you how to electronically bleed the water pump. There's a procedure that this car will go through. We're going to turn the ignition on. We're going to turn our heater to max, which is already on. Shut the radio off.
Just the lowest fan speed.
And then we're going to hold the gas pedal for 10 to 12 seconds all the way down.
And then you hear the water pump go on.
And now the water pump is cycling. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but yeah. Now as this is happening, just continue to top off your coolant. So now that your water pump has finished bleeding, go ahead and throw your cap on, throw your wheel on, torque it up to the good and tight, and run your car and make sure it doesn't leak coolant. With that being said, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you the next time this car breaks.
Well, with this car that might be soon, that might not be. You never know.
So this is the, this is like just after fixing the water pump. I was taking the car out for a drive. Everything was going good. I noticed a weird noise, and you can't make this stuff up. The car left me stranded again. We're stranded. The serpentine belt blew. I don't know how it blew, because I've recently replaced all the pulleys in the belt. So I'm assuming something seized up, but you can't make this stuff up, man. Like, I think this car is cursed or something. If I got a flashlight, I'll show you the bits of belt. So I don't know what to do here. You can see there's the belt.
There's some more pieces of it. So, well, Bob's your uncle.
A day in Cameron Hunt's life, fixing his BMW once again.